Hi, this is Bernard Rose from Trailers from Hell, and today I want to talk about Billy Wilder's final will and testament, which is a film called Fedora. I think the film is is Billy Wilder's late masterpiece in many, many significant ways, mostly because it's about how out of time and how bitter he feels and out of place in the Hollywood of the 70s. He is 100% the William Holden character. He's a man who has to borrow $2,000 off his ex-wife to take a trip to go and try and convince an actor to be in his film that he knows he's never going to get together. And there's an incredible desperation and sadness in Holden's performance that's not acting. It's probably how Holden was at that point in his life quite ill, an alcoholic, and not in the happiest of moods, and looked older than his years. But there's something about his performance. You see all the horror of being sidelined as you reach old age in that business, and all the kind of tragedy of still feeling like you want to be in the game and still having the ideas and still wanting to do it. But there is a very strange, almost too contrived twist in terms of what happens with this woman and why she still looks young, and why the whole thing of her doing the film becomes impossible. He never, of course, makes the film. It's not much of a mystery that he's never going to make the film. It's obvious he's never going to get this production together. But it's also obvious that she's not in any state to make the film either, and nor are any of these people, and that they're all basically kind of plying each other with this cumulative fantasy that they're still somehow relevant when the world has passed them by. And the film is done in what for 1976 was a very retrograde style, and it feels old-fashioned. As I say, I remember seeing it in the theater when it first came out, and after hearing nothing but people hating it, I went and watched it, and I think I remember watching it like 5 times in a row, because as much as it's weird and flawed in places, there's some strange melancholy to it, and a strange poetry and a kind of dreamlike atmosphere that I found completely compelling. And I've always loved the film. And I think it is the companion piece to Sunset Boulevard. And I think that it illuminates things in Sunset Boulevard, and things in Sunset Boulevard illuminate Fedora. It is actually much darker than Sunset Boulevard, because Sunset Boulevard is the work of a young man who thinks he's going to make it unless somebody shoots him and he dies in a pool, Whereas the guy, William Holden in Fedora, he's not going to make it. And his future is the same as how the film ends, which is basically, I won't give it away, but it's not very positive. Fedora was his second behind-the-scenes film about Hollywood, the first very famously being Sunset Boulevard. The lead character is a kind of older, sadder version of the young writer Joe Gillis from Sunset Boulevard, played by the same actor, of course, William Holden. Fedora, when it first came out, I remember I was working in the movie theater in London where it was playing when it first opened. And I remember people coming out of the theater and saying, as I was standing behind the concession counter, how could the man who made Sunset Boulevard make this shit? That was kind of the general reaction to it. I completely disagree with this verdict. In the film, Holden travels to a Greek island to convince this famous star, Fedora, who's disappeared for many years. No one's seen her. No one knows what happened to her. She kind of retired at the height of her fame. It's a kind of Garbo-esque idea, but also more like Marlene Dietrich. And in fact, Billy Wilder tried to get Marlene Dietrich to play the part, and she was so offended she never spoke to him again. So Wilder ended up casting an actress called Marthe Keller in the part, who I think is actually kind of effective in it. But at the time, I think because people wanted to see some real star rather than somebody who wasn't necessarily a movie star, Fedora! It kind of didn't have the same impact, I suppose, as Gloria Swanson playing herself, roughly, in Sunset Boulevard. But anyway, I love this film. I think it's Billy Wilder. Billy Wilder did actually make one more film after this, but it was just some job that he took because he wanted to work on it, and it made nobody happy. So I think that Fedora is the last great work of the great Billy Wilder, and it's absolutely a film that should be rediscovered.